Hi, this is Dorothy Kelty from Raccoon Alley Creations, and I'm working on some APCs for a couple different groups. One is the challenge for Margarete Miller. Her group is to swap APCs, and then because I was already doing APCs, I volunteered for some other ones. So I'm playing with APCs here, and well, let me tell you first what APCs are. APCs are altered playing cards. So technically, you could use any playing card, no matter how big they are. But the standard for it is the standard 2.5 by 3.5 approximately size. Now, I pulled out just a random bunch of cards. Some of them are vintage, and some of them are newer. This was a bunch of quilting patterns. And of course, these are ones I haven't started yet. But they're super fun using up some of my cards. So here's what I've started. Now, first of all, I made a couple that I've finished. Let me take this up because the background is kind of noisy for this. Okay, so I have these cards using book pages as backgrounds, okay, and I like to mix up the papers on the background with different caramelization, older ones and newer ones. And the images on these cards also came out of books. So these are completely book pages, or could be newspapers, but I use book pages. Okay, so these flowers came out of a book, vintage book, Christmas 1910, by Dickens. And it's flower drawings and then quotes from some of his books and things. So I cut them out. Let me show you. This is an example page. 1910, I kind of took the book apart to make copies of it, but I wasn't quite ready to tear these out. So this is some of the pages copied and reduced in size. It's a little bigger than this. I don't know if you can see on this. It's this size. This is so it's about 7 by 5. So the book was about 7 by 5. And then I've reduced it by, I just did the one where you go from legal size to regular size. I think it's about 72%, something like that. So I'm going to put these aside for a minute and show you some other backgrounds I've made. These may be done, or they may need some stamping or something. Now here's another one. This is about done, but I just wanted to show you that I like to sand around the edges. This will actually take the paper off, okay? And it also roughs up the edge a little bit which I like. Once you sand it off, if you take your, this is vintage photo, and go around it, it helps it look, a little more vintagey, grungy, whatever you want to call it, okay? And I'm going to just go around these edges too, so that they will take, even this number here, will take the the vintage photo stain a little better, okay? So now this was a book of children's poetry with these different images. And while the book pages are from actual books, this image is also from a vintage book, but from a copy of it, okay? Now this one, again, I need to rough up the edges. This also helps get the the rounded edges of the cards. Look how pretty that card is. So this one, this is book page. This is like a logo or something from, they came off part of a roll of piano paper. And then this cardboard is from a Starbucks, you know, container that goes around the cup to keep it cool, okay? Here is just two pages of vintage German, some sort of a German textbook, I think, and then the Japanese with the numbers showing through. This is actually paper. These are from scraps from a digital kit with a book page there. So here we go. This is 2 again. So I have some that are 2 and some that are 3. Oh. I did not get a whole deck of these cards. It might have come from my sister Mary. I'm not sure. But I love them. Very vintage. And I've got just 2 pieces, or 3 if you count the card. So I've got the red of the card and then this larger text and a smaller text in English, okay? Now, where's another one? Okay. Love this one. Wow, I really thought I only saved 1 or 2 that needed sanding. So I don't think I'm going to sand anymore. I'll just put these aside and work on them later. I'll just show them to you. Now, this deck of cards had real cool images on the inside. So for this one, I just took these 2 pieces and I left this part of the card sticking out. You've got just a diamond showing from the ace on the other side, so I thought that was fun. This one had this fabulous joker, so this is the same deck. And I sometimes forget that when you're working with this paper, or at least what I think when you're working with the paper, this is a block of an image. It doesn't necessarily have to be readable, you know, it doesn't have to make sense, because my tendency, and a lot of people's tendencies, is that they want to see the words right side up, okay, so that they make sense, but it doesn't have to be. And here's another ace of diamonds. This one came from a casino. It has the hole punched in it to show that it's a used deck and stuff, and some casinos sell them. They used to give them away in the good old days. Again, just 2 pieces of paper with a card background. This one has 2 pieces of paper with a card background. But look at this. That's, this piece of paper in the background is kind of 3 different sets of stuff with the cursive, this size text, and then some bold where they're kind of defining it or giving an example or something. This one is modern, Disney, and I've got, again, just 2 pieces. I've got the 7 showing in the corner, and then this book page here had a border, so I went ahead and let that show. I thought that was fun. And here's another one. And this one, I used 3 pages. I did remember both of these are not necessarily turned right side up, and I left a portion of the card back showing there. I just thought this was fun. Let me put that aside because it needs. So, and I'm going to put these aside that are finished. So what I thought I'd do is take a look at some of these and just figure out what else I want. Now, I've got red in here. So I think that a red image to go with this one would be fun. And I had one right here. What did I do with it? Here it is. It's this red image from the Christmas 1910 Dickens book. And what I thought I would do is tear this out. And I'm going to tear these words separately, but I may add that onto the card just for the fun of it, because it's so nice just kind of acknowledging that it's old papers, right? I'm going to ink around the edges of this. Now when I put it in, I'm not going to put it just plain center, okay? I'm going to offset it a little bit, and I might even turn it a little bit, like this. And then if I take that writing, and put it right up there, I think. I can actually, I've got the 8 and the diamond. When you're doing the altered playing cards, it's nice when you're doing the collage to leave something that shows the age of it, what it is. I could put this down here, but because the color is the same as it is up here, it kind of gets lost. Whereas if I add this at the top, like this, there's contrast there. Okay, let's just put this on there. I hear thunder rumbling outside, so we'll put that right like that. And then we'll add this like this. So I want to just barely go over the Christmas. I want you to know what it says, but not necessarily read it well. Let's see if this will go in there or not. Okay. So let's take this. Nope. I want it to go up just a little more and twist a little more. There we go. Okay, so I think that that's fine. I'm going to put it over here with the more done ones. Now this one, let's see, let's go to this one. I can add an image to it. Now I also have a couple of other images here. These are from Margarete. They're cigarette card images. And I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to do this, tear it off. Now sometimes you can take images and wrinkle them up a little bit, okay, and then add your inking. Okay, whoops. Let's go over this. I'm just going to go over the wrinkles a little bit to accent them, and it just, it makes it look more like a crumbled piece. And now if I add this here, like this, well, that's going to cover up everything, right? I think right there will be fine. What if oh yeah, I like that. Turning it a little bit, it sort of lets you see more what's going on with the background pages, and I like that. I think that's more interesting that way. Now I'm also going to ink around the edges of this. Sometimes older cards, because they're a little bit more worn, take the ink better than newer ones. Okay? So I'm just wanted to show you kind of what I'm doing. Now this picture came from a book. You can see the border around here. But then we have these kids playing. So I'm going to I'm going to tear off the border to start with. Okay. And then see what I like here. So I want to tear along here a little bit. I want to just kind of indicate the background a little better and kind of concentrate on these three kids playing. And also this, okay, so now do they fit? Is that good? Well, I want to tear off a little bit more here. Okay, because I want to kind of go around this, the A for the ace a little better. And then, really, because the size is the same, this is kind of going smack dab in the center. So I think I'm just going to raise it up a little bit to the right, so that it's kind of a, it's, if you divide your picture into like thirds, so thirds this way and thirds this way, that point, one of those points, is an interesting place to put your pictures or your diagram or your point of interest. So by taking this just slightly over and to the right, I'm kind of getting the center closer to that point. You see that? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, some of these, the theme is just kind of vintage. Two of these are going to be sets of 3 going out, and I am not necessarily going to choose things that are, you know, exactly the same. I'll see what I'll do. Okay, this one I'm just going to leave alone, I think. I think this image is so interesting all by itself. Maybe I'll just ink the edges of this a little bit. So just a real simple 3-piece collage here. Okay, this one has 2 of them, 2 pieces of paper with the background, okay? And sometimes sets of 3 or odd numbers are interesting to our brains. Our brains like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose some of these, and I want them to be different. And as you can see, these are real small. This is from TLC Creates Vintage. There is a Facebook page that she has, and a Ko-fi store, which is fun. Let me see which of these I want. I think I'm going to go with this one. And then she has a web page. I don't know. I'm going to try and remember to go back after I upload these to YouTube and pick out some, or put links into the web pages of these people. I just, a lot of them are free images. Some of them I have purchased. So, but there's some people that I really love what they do. So I want to leave this picture there, okay? But if I take and just add these 3 elements on top, it gives a focal point, puts this more into the background, I think, and makes the card more interesting. Let me just ink around this. I'm leaving the names on. I just think the names of things is fun. I'm going to tear this a little bit closer to these. And also, there we go. So what if I did this just a little bit like this? This to go like that. And then the mushrooms to go down here. Now, a lot of times I will take pictures with my phone and then go back and look at the pictures, maybe with things put a little different way, and see which I like better. And then sometimes I don't. Okay, so I think that's where I want it. Let me add the glue to this. This. Now this one. I think it's interesting that these pictures that I got from Paulette of TLC Creates, notice that she's got 3 flowers here and she's got 3 mushrooms here. So again, we're echoing that 3 that is interesting to the brain, okay? So that one's done. So I've got a few more I'm going to go back and finish, but I hope you enjoyed me playing with APCs. Thank you. Dorothy Kilty of Raccoonelli Creations.